What is a true fact so baffling, it should be false? The record for most children born to one mother is 69. To the wife of Fyodor Vasilyev, B 1707 C 1782, a peasant from Shuya, Russia. In 27 labors, she gave birth to 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets and 4 sets of quadruplets. Edit. Wife name is Valentina Vasilyeva. Not sure what's more impressive, having that many children, or considering it's the 1700s, living through it. Would be interested in how many of the kids survived too. You can boil water in a paper cup over an open flame. My dad showed me this when I was 4. Blew my mind. I thought witchcraft was outlawed. If sound could travel through space, the roar of the sun would be deafening, even though it's 93 miles away. Edit. Because space is a vacuum, sound can't travel though a vacuum. Edit again. Obviously lots of other things in the universe would change, and yes, presumably other stars and planets would make noise too. We'd probably all die screaming as the Earth itself imploded from the pressure of traveling so fast through a universe that wasn't a vacuum. Last edit. Yes, Jesus Christ Rick and Morty, as hundreds of you have pointed out. The longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. I see these threads a bunch, but this answer has me interested. Gonna look up the source on that one. Kilkenny, Ireland, gave birth to twins Amy Ann and Kate Mary, Katie Elliott 87 days apart, making them the twins with the longest interval between their births. The twins were born at Waterford Regional Hospital. Amy was born prematurely on the 1st of June 2012 and Kate followed on the 27th of August. Guinness World Records. From 1613 and 1620 a samurai traveled to Rome by way of Mexico. During this time, Shakespeare was still alive. Virginia had been founded for around a decade. Galileo was accused of heresy, and Pocahontas arrived in England. He met the Pope. He was made a Roman citizen. His name was Hasekura Tsuneniga, and was the last Japanese person to officially visit Europe, until around 1860. One day Mao Zedong saw a sparrow eating grain. Thinking that the sparrows were hurting China's grain supply, he and the Communist Party launched the Four Pests campaign. The Chinese military and population killed every sparrow they could find. Embassies didn't allow the Chinese to kill sparrows on their property, so the Chinese banged pots and pans outside the embassies 24/7 until the sparrows died of exhaustion. Unfortunately for the Chinese, sparrows mainly eat insects, not grain. The locust population exploded, and 43 million people starved to death. There were more planes destroyed in World War II than there are currently intact planes on Earth today. I mean, everyone was making a poop ton of planes. There is an extremely rare condition called stone man syndrome. It causes any smallest damage done to tissue to regrow into a bone. Speaking briefly, people affected by this sickness slowly turn into living statues as they get older. Wikipedia. Surgical removal of the extra bone growths has been shown to cause the body to repair the affected area with even more bone. I'll never sleep again. Stalin, Hitler, and Freud all lived in Vienna at the same time. Edit. And as others have pointed out, including a source further down, Tito and Trotsky were also there. Imagine a sitcom with them all as roommates. Damn it, Stalin, stop eating my food. It is our food, Freud. I will stop eating it when you stop banging your mother. We live many times closer to the last dinosaur than the first and last dinosaur did to each other. And Cleopatra lived closer to the first man on the moon than to the time the pyramids were built. That's a trip. A 500-pound cigarette smoking, beer drinking brown bear named Wojtek was enlisted and served in the Polish army during WWII. Private Wojtek helped the Polish win the brutal Battle of Mont Cassino, and was even promoted to corporal. Following the war, he retired in Scotland. Amazing share. I will name my firstborn son Wojtek. If every single person on the entire planet took part in a rock paper scissors contest, where everyone paired up and played, losers were knocked out, and winners stayed on etc., you would only have to win 33 times in a row to beat all 7.53 billion people on the planet. When Mount Everest was first measured, it was exactly 29,000 feet. It was reported as 29,002 because exactly 29,000 was not believable. I'm picturing someone standing at the bottom with a tape measure and someone running all the way up with the other end. When a woman with breast implants is cremated, the implants will melt into goo. It drips to the bottom of the furnace and needs to be cleaned up once cooled. Oxford University predates the Aztec Empire by over 200 years. And, for fun, one of my favorites. Woolly mammoths were still around at the time the Great Pyramids in Giza were built. Harvard didn't teach classes in calculus when it was founded because it wasn't discovered yet. There is no universally accepted definition of vegetable. It's a cultural and culinary term and varies from place to place. If my son hates it, it's a vegetable. Problem solved. If you're launching from Earth, the most difficult place to reach in the solar system is the sun. The reason for this is that to fly directly into the sun you need to first launch from Earth and then remove all of your orbital velocity around the sun. Anything less will just put you into a different orbit around the sun rather than directly into it. The amount of power required for that to do it directly is basically impossible currently. As an alternative, you could, for relatively little power, fly all the way out to Pluto distance, slow down much less, and then fall back into the sun. The trade-off being the travel time is now about 90 years. There are other in-between paths that could get you there for different balances of energy and time, but all of them are tougher than getting basically anywhere else in the solar system with an equivalent balance. There's a mission currently traveling to study the sun, the Parker Solar Probe. It won't be flying directly in, but plans to make the closest passes than any probe ever has. It's going to make 7 passes by Venus to shed speed so it can get closer and closer to the sun. The full flight time is planned as just less than 7 years. As of this post, they are 1 week shy of a year in. President John Tyler, born in 1790, has 2 living grandsons. A similar one I like is that there is a living person who is the daughter of a US Civil War veteran, at least as of 2017. And she gets to draw a Civil War veteran's pension, 50 cents a month. Good living. It's pretty well known by now, but calculators today have more computing power than Apollo 11. We got to the moon with slide rulers and huge balls. Horses can't vomit. Rats are also unable to vomit. This incidentally is why rat poison works. They have no way to rid their bodies of it before enough builds up to kill them. If Earth was a basketball, to scale the moon would be a tennis ball. It would orbit around 7.5 meters away, which is a lot farther than most people think. If the nucleus of a hydrogen atom was a tennis ball, to scale the electron would orbit at about 2,500 meters away. There is no ball small enough to compare to how small electrons would still be at this scale. There are more trees on the Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, you've probably made an entirely unique order, as compared to every other shuffle in history. Even if 99% of Earth's population thought you were unattractive, 76 million people would still find you attractive. Too bad those 76 million people never see me. You can fit every planet between the Earth and Moon, including all the gas giants. But if you lined up all of Jeff Bezos's money from end to end, it wouldn't fit between the Earth and Moon. It could go to the Moon and back 34 times. Jeff Bezos has enough money to make a ladder to the Moon and to make it out of money. In dollar bills or pennies? Dollar bills. Jeff Bezos's pennies could go to the Moon and back roughly 207 times. Ireland was a net exporter of food during the Great Potato Famine. That's what caused the famine. The Brits exported all the food and the Irish were left with only one small kind of potato for themselves, which then was afflicted with disease. Inches. There are over 9 million variations after just 3 moves each, 288 billion different possible positions after 4 moves each. In a complete game there are more possible positions than there are electrons in the observable universe. Sense of smell is molecular, meaning that molecules of what you are smelling are actually inside of your body as a result of smelling them. Think about that the next time you enter a public restroom. Like farts. Little bits of ass in your head. You see your nose all the time, but your brain just ignoring it. Well, not anymore. Thanks. My nose is actually annoying me now. The USA is the 3rd most populated nation on Earth. If you were able to add 1 billion people to the US population today, it would still be the 3rd most populated nation on Earth. There used to be a radioactive energy drink called Radithor that was in the US market for a decade from 1918 to 1928. Some of the more prominent users had to be buried in lead coffins. Got any similar stories? Leave it in the comments below.